What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking the best and worst movies of May. We have a lot of cool things to dive into, including Fast X versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Who wins? But before we dive into that, I want to talk to you all about a really cool offer and today's sponsor. This is an eWin Flash Series extra large size computer gaming chair, and let me tell you, I've been needing one of these chairs for so long. Finally got the opportunity, and man, oh man, is this not one of the most comfortable gaming chairs I have ever had the pleasure of editing for hours and hours in. I mean, I sit in a chair for a long time. That's what I do all day, so when eWin sent me this gaming chair, I was so excited, but I was also kind of hesitant, like, is this going to be as comfortable as it looks? Because it looks pretty comfortable. First off, the setup process. It comes in a few pieces, and it really didn't take me all that long to put together. The instructions are clear. There was one moment where I couldn't quite get something to screw in. It was probably my fault. I had it at the wrong angle, but as soon as I adjusted that, it went together with ease, and I was sitting in the chair within 30 to 40 minutes of opening the box. So that was cool. But Austin, who cares about that? The real question is the chair comfortable? My simple answer is yes. I believe this is one of the more comfortable gaming chairs I've ever sat on. Scoot all the way back here and show you why. First of all, this is the extra large chair, which holds up to 550 pounds. I also believe it's the better chair if you're just a little bit taller. Most gaming chairs only hold up to 300 pounds, so I think you're getting the best bang for your buck if you go with the biggest size. That's just my opinion. It's also just a wider seat and a wider back, which allows me more space to sit in, but it's still comfortable because of the way that the seat is angled. I'm used to skinnier seats. I'm used to shorter seats, so this is a nice change of pace. Don't forget the two support pillows, lumbar support, back support. I'm needing that in my old age. My back. So if this eWin chair interests you, be sure to follow the links down below and type in the code AustinBurke, all one word, for 20% off. I believe that's a pretty good deal, and I think the chair is absolutely worth it. This is my new chair for good, my permanent one in the future. I'm taking it over to the new studio, so you're going to be seeing me use it here in about 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully forever. Now let's get into this tier list. All right, let's start with the brand new Ben Affleck and Robert Rodriguez drama. That is Hypnotic. Was I hypnotized by this movie? The answer is simply no. I thought this one started out pretty compelling. It's a mix of, Christopher Nolan, Inception type of storytelling. He's trying to be David Fincher at points with this very complex and somewhat overly convoluted murder mystery, but things start to come into play in the second act that I thought just tossed this movie off the edge of the ship to where it started to drown under its own ideas. It could not come to the surface, and this metaphor has gone on long enough. Listen, I thought Hypnotic had some really fascinating moments. And I like Ben Affleck as an actor, but one could argue that he was kind of sleepwalking through this movie, not giving the most compelling performance ever. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've seen film after film try to replicate this formula, and they don't often do it as well as some of the better ones I've ever seen. So Hypnotic, for me, unfortunately, goes on the bad tier. Then we have Fast X. Family. To be flat honest with you, I did my Fast and Furious ranking short on my YouTube channel, and people were furious. Oh, brother, this guy stinks! At me for not putting the movies in the right order, even though I'm sitting back going, guys, come on, who cares about this franchise? I know that sounds really harsh, and some people are going to come at me like, Austin, what are you doing? And that's not true. People do care about this franchise. They love their Fast and Furious films. I think Fast 5 is a great movie. I think Furious 7 is a really good one. The original is fun, but all in all, the last 2 to 3, I've been very lukewarm to this is just a bad movie on, and I was thinking I was going to feel the same way about Fast X. I didn't, and that's something, right? I thought Fast X was a fun time in the theater, even though it's a ridiculous, silly, dumb, what's another word? Kind of stupid time in the theater, and the plot is all over the place. Jesus Christ. I will admit all of those things, but in terms of a blockbuster that doesn't take itself too seriously, feels like kind of a classic 90s, ridiculous, schlocky action movie, and has a lot of star power. And that's something that I will absolutely admit about this franchise as a whole. Tons of star power in the Fast and Furious movies. Fast X, if you count all the cameos and whatnot, may have the most we've ever seen. Didn't do anything revolutionary. I guess they didn't need to, and all in all, I am going to surprisingly put that on the okay tier. Wow. Okay. How about Fool's Paradise? Charlie Day, Ken Jeong, Adrian Brody. There's a lot of star power in this movie. I believe it's Charlie Day's directorial debut when we're talking feature film. Kate Beckinsale's in this movie. What else can I say about it before I start being really mean to this film? It's all over the place. I, started getting into it at the beginning. I'm like, this is interesting. His character is very quiet, without spoiling anything, but he's basically a fool for love who becomes an accidental celebrity overnight. He comes in as kind of this stunt double to this more famous star who's also played by Charlie Day, and Ken Jeong kind of becomes his manager. There's a lot that happens here that's just like, okay, it's trying to be extremely artistic with the comedic twist. He's trying to capture the style that we've seen in some of these other artsy, say, A24-like movies, but the film's a little awkward. I don't like the pacing. I don't like the editing. It kind of feels like a TV show or, a TV movie, which makes it sound like the worst thing ever. It's not the worst thing ever, I think, mostly because Charlie Day's performance is very classic comedic, meaning he's using his body, he's using hand motions, he's using his eyes, and it's actually a really good performance. So I thoroughly enjoyed what we were getting from him in front of the camera, but unfortunately behind the camera, I thought this was a bit of a directorial disaster, to be honest with you.
This is a disaster!
It's just one of those films you have to watch to understand all of my issues with it. It's mediocre in a way that wasn't the worst time while you were watching it, but after it was over, when I started to think about the film itself and how it all came together, it was really, really messy. So unfortunately, I thought this was a pretty bad movie. I'm going to put it on the bad tier. Then we have Blood and Gold. You have a German soldier, he's looking for his daughter. You have these two characters that are fighting against the Nazis for their families. So two distinct storylines here going on. I would say the more interesting one is kind of this search for gold, a treasure hunt, if you will. You have the villagers against this evil group of individuals, and the greed for that gold is going to bring secrets to light. And you get this very Sisu, remember Sisu from last month, esque showdown at the end of the movie, and some really compelling action sequences, some nice motivations for our characters. Unfortunately, the story as a whole and the two sides that start to slowly culminate and come together, it's been done before, and I'm not sure if the direction here worked all that well for the story they were trying to tell, and it just started to become more appealing as the movie went, but at the beginning, I wasn't as sucked in as I needed to be to Blood and Gold. All in all, it's a Netflix movie. If you're interested in the story I was just describing to you, I would say it's worth a watch, maybe a background watch, but not the worst movie in the world, man. I'm going an okay tier for Blood and Gold. Aw, look at it's love again. Priyanka Chopra Jonas stars in this film alongside of Sam Heughan, and it's this very cliche, almost Netflix-like romantic comedy starring two very compelling leads that are playing very cliche characters that come together, and I'm not going to spoil the ending, okay? But you may be able to see the ending coming, even though there's a twist or two in there. One of the twists is that Celine Dion is prominent in this film, as is her music. And to me, that was the funniest part of the movie. Nothing wrong with Celine Dion. Listen, I love me some Celine Dion, but when she's very clearly there just to sell her music in the movie and then they play it at the end, I'm just like, okay. I get that's the theme of the film. There's a tragic moment at the beginning that we don't even get to see the entire perspective of, so that moment feels shortchanged. Then you're thrown into this very, clear direction that this movie is going, and admittedly, I had a smile or two on my face as I was watching, and I've watched worse romantic comedies. You know what? There's charm to this film that if you love this genre, you're going to watch this and be like, okay, I see what they're doing. It's very predictable. It's not a good movie, but as an experience, again, I've seen worse, and you have two leads that know how to operate under these circumstances. I'm still going bad tier. It's not good, but it's not the worst. Hey, it's the mother. How you doing?
Mommy!
Jennifer Lopez is an action star in this movie who is going after her daughter. She's going to save her daughter from the circumstances that she is in, but her daughter doesn't know that she is her daughter. I keep saying daughter a lot. Daughter. That's the best part of this film, right? It's not the action. I actually think the action in this movie is very bland, not very well made. It's not really believable that Jennifer Lopez is doing this because they don't do a good enough job with the filmmaking to tell us that she is an action star, that she can do what she claims to have done in the beginning of the movie. I killed this many people with this many things. All we see her do really in this film is hold a sniper rifle and shoot a couple times and there's like one action scene that uses hand-to-hand combat, very clearly a stunt double. It just didn't really work in that regard. But as a mother-daughter movie, that relationship, when they get together and they have to find their way out together, that worked for me. So you have two very distinct movies that are clashing here. One that I didn't enjoy. I honestly thought it was kind of a disaster. And the other, more towards the end, the back half of the film, that worked. So where am I at the... Well, it's not a good movie, unfortunately, but it is closer to the meh tier. But because it gets so many things wrong, man, I'm being really negative today. This is... Little Mermaid. I want to be where the people are. Boo! Let me know in the comments down below. Could I do it? Could I be in a musical? I think I could be in a musical. Halle Bailey is a star? I mean, what do you want me to say? Look, I know there's a lot of backlash with the casting and all this and the Little Mermaid, and I get it. Like, we have this affinity, this connection for nostalgia, nostalgic movies that we grew up with, movies of quality. And The Little Mermaid, the original animated film, is a movie of quality, but it also holds that nostalgia. So when it looks as if they're starting to change things, she is Ariel. I said it in my reaction. Ariel is Ariel. What does that mean? It's everything I wanted her to be. The voice, just the way that she goes about herself, the way that she carries herself. Obviously, her relationships, the chemistry between she and the other cast members, or lack thereof, with Melissa McCarthy's Ursula, who was great. Prince Eric, I wish they could have done more with his character, but I guess the chemistry was good there. Sebastian the Crab, I needed more flounder. The visual effects were up and down as the movie goes, but when it went from muted and not very colorful, kind of dark, to those beautiful moments under the sea, I absolutely love the way that this film came together. I don't love the film. I think it's a good movie. I think there are very clear issues that, if you start to look at it a bit more, it's like, they could have done this. They could have showcased the kingdom. There's a big kingdom down there. We only see like 7 mermaids until the very end. I'm like, where's the kingdom? Where are the people? All of that being said, compared to other Disney live action remakes, I am putting this, I can't believe I'm doing this, on the good tier. I'm as shocked as you are. I think The Little Mermaid live action is on the same tier of quality as the original. Maybe not as good, but on the same tier of quality. Here's a nice independent movie that I think you all should look into if you haven't had the opportunity to see it yet. And I was late on this. I didn't get to do a review. It's called How to Blow Up a Pipeline. A crew of environmental activists plot a daring plan to disrupt an oil pipeline. It's directed by Daniel Goldhaber, I believe is how you pronounce the name here. Director of Cam. Thought Cam was a good movie. I think this is a compelling cast. Not a lot of notable names here, but the performances are as good as you need them to be. But it's more about the style. It's more about how this story is told, showcasing different perspectives, all of the build-up, the ideas being thrown around between these characters to kind of get us to this point. We actually start out at that point, but then we start to see how it came about. And a realistic idea like this, it's not always, it's never going to go how they think it's going to go. It's never going to go according to plan. And they have ideals, they have beliefs that push them to do what they do in this film. And that, to me, was really interesting. Now, the movie itself, it wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be. And I know that sounds bad, but I was expecting certain scenes to hit really, really hard that don't pack the punch that I think the director intends, I think the script intends. I think the writing is good here, but I never got that moment to get me hooked onto this movie. So maybe I'm even lower than some of the critics are when it comes to How to Build a Pipeline, but a good quality independent story, one that didn't fully leave me as emotional as I needed to be, and it does drag a little bit in the middle, but those are my reasonings behind why I'm not putting it on the great tier. I still think this is quality filmmaking. You cannot deny that the movie looks good, the acting's good, the script's good. It's all as solid as you expect for a film like this. So I'm going How to Blow Up a Pipeline. I think I accidentally said How to Build a Pipeline earlier. I'm sorry. How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Is that a spoiler? It's in the title. White Men Cant Jump, Jack Harlow, and Cinco Walls, who I thought was excellent in this film. And Jack Harlow, I was like, he's not Woody Harrelson, okay, because the original movie is a classic. Wesley Snipes, that chemistry was amazing. So it's like, you got to have that chemistry. You got to pack that punch if you're going to remake White Men Can't Jump. I think if they would have titled this something else and, went about it in a different way when it came to the marketing, this could have hit a bit harder than it did, because I think the idea of remaking White Men Can't Jump with Jack Harlow, he's a rapper representing Kentucky, it's where I'm from. People were upset, rightfully so. I was upset. I thought it was a stupid idea. The movie's not terrible. It's not very good, but I do believe there's some elements in here that work. Specifically, the chemistry between the main two actors. They set up some storylines, some plot threads that are supposed to be emotional. They're supposed to leave you emotional, and I'm sitting back going, hey, it's not hitting as hard. And when Jack Harlow has to be emotional, he's not there yet as an actor. But when he's kind of playing this slightly different version of himself, and when it comes to the chemistry, and not all actors are good at having that type of chemistry. So I think there's something there. I just haven't fully seen it yet, especially just looking at this movie. But all in all, it could have been worse. You know, they hit the basketball scenes. They nail those. Sometimes these movies, they get those wrong. Is it the original? Absolutely not. Not even close. But is it terrible? No, that's why I'm going to go White Men Cant Jump on the meh tier, but it could have been a lot worse. Finally, this one's easy. Guardians of the Galaxy. Austin, what do you mean it's easy? You're going to put it on the great tier, right? You think it's a great movie. You gave it a little above an 8 out of 10. Well, I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and my score has increased. It hasn't drastically increased. I'm not at like a 95, but it is closer to a 9 than it is an 8, and that's all I'm going to say. And I do believe Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a movie that is utterly rewatchable, a film that packs the emotional punch.
Dear God, it's beautiful.
It's better than the first two. I didn't really feel that way when I first watched it. I'm like, yeah, it's a great film, right? This is a nice culmination of everything that we've built up in the universe. It may just be better than the first one. I think there's so much here. And the thing that I love about this is it's bringing Marvel fans back out to the theaters multiple times. How many times have we seen that lately with a Marvel movie? We haven't. It just really hasn't happened. The fact that Guardians 3 is making all kinds of money and it's bringing people back out to the theaters, and it's the first widely acclaimed Marvel movie that we've seen since Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But prior to that, it had been a while. We've been disappointed a lot as of late, especially when you look at Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The fact that this film was able to bring that back, bring the hype back for Marvel is awesome. Now, James Gunn, he's saying, see you later, going over to DC, and hopefully bringing that magic to that universe. But for now, I think we can continue to kind of appreciate the fact that he just brought us a great culmination to what a lot of people are saying is one of the best comic book movie trilogies of all time. Do I agree with that? Yeah, probably. I probably do. Let's put Guardians of the Galaxy on the great tier. Just kidding. Let's put it on the awesome tier. All right, here are the movies. Let's put them in order. At the bottom, Charlie Day. I met you in a bathroom once. I'm so sorry. I'm going to put this, I'm going to put Fool's Paradise down there. Then we have Hypnotic. Ben Affleck living his best life until he, has to promote this movie. And then Love Again. Yeah, that's right. I'm putting J-Lo at the top of the bad tier. Congratulations. That's a great accomplishment. White Men Cant Jump on the meh tier. On the okay tier, let's go Fast X below Blood and Gold. I would watch Blood and Gold again. And then The Little Mermaid in the 2 spot, How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Really good independent movie. And then obviously, it was really obvious, Guardians Volume 3 at the top. It is far and away the best movie in the month of May, but if you look at the month of May, it's not been a very good month overall. Now, I know there were some movies that I missed. If you guys want to leave in the comments down below, what movie should I see that I missed? There were a lot this weekend, a couple last weekend, plenty of films that I could go back and get a watch in before the end of the year. Also, once again, thanks to the sponsor of this video, eWin Gaming Chairs. Follow the links down below to get that discount if you're interested. If not, thanks for liking, following, subscribing. What's the other cliche thing to say? Commenting. There you go. Do that. See you soon.